Yeah, this will be our first team one.
Oh shit! I didn't think about that. That's right.
So the analyzing will be it's a little bit of a different format.
Yeah.
I mean, there's there's an added element now, and it's to me it's like, well, we'll talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I have some sweeping comments on the top before we
Okay.
get into.
Well, yeah. So let's like yeah,
Let's just go.
we'll just go.
You lead me, dude.
Um,
You lead me.
don't let go, Jack. Okay. Here. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to Get With The Programming. I'm Chase Ingram.
I'm Captain America.
And along with me is Bill Grunler.
Wolverine.
And this is analyzing the programming, the team quarterfinals. And Bill, we just said this is actually the first analyzing the programming we've done for a team competition.
Which is weird. I didn't even think about that.
After almost a year and what? A year and a month? 13, 14 months.
Yeah.
Because
Well,
we've been seeing
because there hasn't been a whole lot of team stuff happening.
Right.
You know what I mean?
The teams were canceled in 2020.
Right. But like this will be an interesting one because one of the things that we have, I think hopefully we've shown with, talking about if a test is a good test or how do we do certain programs or the different, whether we're talking to a programmer or programming for events or whatever, that there is a distinct difference in what each program is supposed to do. I mean, yes, for this one, it's a qualifier trying to find the fittest or whatever, but
Right.
now, and just like we started to talk about, and it's really funny, our little pre-talks before we start, it's like, so we start to sort of get into, and then let's say for the show.
Wait.
Let's just say for the show. But it's important to note that like a team competition, team qualifying, and team events that you program should be different.
Yes.
Than what you program for an individual. And so I think that, the fact that this is the first one that we get to do, or the first one that we are doing, it will be interesting to showcase what that difference would be, should be, what we think it would be, what needs to be. So I think this will be a fun one.
I did. Well, it's a first that we've done. We've been planning to do team stuff. Like we did. This all started with really we wanted to backfill the games programming from 2008 to 2020, the individuals. And then we went to the open. We want to do regionals next because semifinals are coming up. And that's basically the new regionals. And we wanted to touch on the team thing because, the team thing is I would say often and unfortunately overlooked portion of the game season. It's fun and people like it. But I feel like it can be and should be and get more attention and respect than it often has over the years.
It's not quite the redheaded stepchild because that's the Masters. It's the cute blonde stepchild.
Yeah, it's like we'll get there. And I like what you touched on in the beginning there. And I actually have some thoughts on that too, and maybe on a parallel side. So there's a lot of different unique dynamics to the team competition that is layered on to how we normally analyze programming. The same things still apply. We want to see balance in the movements, the modalities, the timing, the tempo, the reps, and all that other stuff. Like that still applies. But the team side comes in like, teamwork events, combined events, individualized things. Like there's so many fun components that should be in there that are part of how to analyze team programming. And the cool thing is for me, this area is really special for me because that's really where I cut my teeth on the broadcasting side. I've been doing teams specifically for almost a decade now.
Yeah.
I would just intermittently do individual stuff at the CrossFit Games. Now I do individuals and regionals because we would do everything at regionals, right?
Right.
Same thing for you, right? So you were more individual based at the games level, where I was team, and then at regionals we did everything.
Yeah, and I mean the crazy thing about it is individuals. I mean, we talk about what this one person is doing, and if they're good at pull-ups or overhead squats or whatever, but you're looking at that person as a unit. Where are they lacking? Where are they, where are they good? Where are they weak? The team should be looked at as a unit, not as 4 people or 6 people or whatever. I mean, you have to kind of break it down. That, I mean, like, so that's the layer that is really, I think, that is interesting. And I mean, I'll be the first to admit it. Like, I don't do a lot of, like, I have people that would be at my gym and say, "Hey, how come we don't do partner workouts?" And I'm like, man,
Yeah,
because that's a whole different, like, that's a different deal. Like, a lot of times when you're doing partner workouts, in the gym programming wise, like, I can see them for events, but it's very difficult when you're trying to push a gym towards, improving their fitness or increasing their overall fitness. It's because, someone's going to do more work, someone's going to do less work. Who's getting the workout? What is the intent of that specific workout they're doing? So there's all of these other things, which now you pull all those things into a competitive situation. And I do think that the programming should be different. I do think that not that the elements have to be different, the movements and all that kind of thing, but the way that it's put together should be different, because you're not looking at a individual, you're looking at a unit.
I agree. I think I now that you said it again, I hear it a little differently.
Yeah.
Because, and when I first heard it, it's like the workouts have to be different and they can't look the same. I was like, no, that's not true. That doesn't have to be the case. So
right.
I get what you're saying. And so what we're going to do is, as we get into the events of the quarterfinals for the teams, we're really going to start bringing in new layers of things on the team side from a competitive programming perspective, that should be added in. And this goes along with how we want to change, maybe what things we want to change for the teams in general, which is a Programmatron episode that we want to do in the future. We just finished a Programmatron episode. We released it yesterday. Brian Friend came on, and we looked at, the question came up was, what was a better test for, say, for fun, the 2020 CrossFit Games for Stage 2? How to find the fittest 5? Was Stage 1 the best test, or was the quarterfinals that they just finished for the individuals a better test with the select 30 that we had? Right, we're changing what the quarterfinals were for. And it was a really fun discussion, and it was really cool. But my favorite part, I just re-listened to it because I always listen to what we do so I can, like, fix anything that I screw up, like not pressing my mute button when the show starts. And the coolest thing that happened, and I love when this happens, that when we have a centerpiece topic, and then by the end, it reveals what the real revelation is of the discussion. And in the last 20 minutes of our Programmatron episode, it went from what's the better test, Stage 1 or quarterfinals, to, whoa, the programming of the semifinals is going to be, like, the focus. Super important. So that revelation, if you guys haven't hit, if you support the show on Patreon, go listen to our latest episode that we just put up for our Programmatrons. If you're not, it's worth the $6 just to listen to. Go to patreon.com/get with the programming and go check it out, because what we figured out in the last 15 or 20 minutes was so cool. I thought that was so neat, and it wasn't been planned.
I know. And I am really surprised that I haven't heard more about it. And I'm talking about, I don't mean like from the Talking Elite Fitness, the Morning Chalk Up necessarily. I haven't really heard it from them, but I'm talking about just general, the people, the individuals, the only thing we're hearing about is, where am I located?
Yes.
That's it. And in all reality, it shouldn't matter depending on how the program is set up. And I don't want to reveal it too much. I'll let you guys go and listen to it. But it is extremely important if if what we're going to be doing and how we're going to do it is going to send people to the games the right way.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just about if you found the gold ticket in the gutter somewhere and picked it up like, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Needless to say is there's a lot of anticipation going into the semis on what the events are going to look like, or what the venues, what the competition is. But now even more so, if you go listen to that, you're going to have hopefully the community now really focusing on is like, oh, this is a big deal.
Yeah.
Of what is actually the programming is going to be. So that's a Programmatron special episode. Bill, we have our Programmatron of the week.
I saw that.
If you guys, and I'll read through it and I'll save the save the twist.
Yes, do that.
I don't know why I didn't put this together.
I saw that right away. I was like, sweet.
A gun.
Dang, it was so cool. So, go ahead, hit it up.
If you guys support us on Patreon, we pick one supporter a week and give them a free full month of programming, and we do it random, right? We have the list of names, or you scroll through and click, you, sir or madam, are a winner. And I clicked this gentleman, and I didn't really think about it, and I'll read his. It's a he. I'll read through to get to it, because if I say his name and you guys know anything about CrossFit, like, well, yes. Okay, so he says, started CrossFit back in 2014, a couple of years back after Tim opened CrossFit Palace. Is it Palace or Palace? What is it? Palace?
I think it's Palace.
Because I wanted to have a shared experience with him, and because I knew I had a bilateral hip resurfacing on the horizon due to decades of basketball running plus hip dysplasia. I was about to make a joke, and he goes, in quote, yes, like Labrador retrievers get.
I know.
He's making a joke for me. And wanted to ensure I was in decent shape to ensure a quicker recovery. Wow, it's amazing that if you get your body physically fit, that you can go through something like this as a prehab.
CrossFit is rehab for actual injuries and protection from future injuries?
Yeah.
That can't be true.
Yes, and after the surgery, I was shut down for 6 months, missed the 2015 Open. Been doing CrossFit 5 to 6 days a week at Broad Street CrossFit in, I guess, Media, Pennsylvania. Shout out. Great boxing program, he says. Haven't missed the Open since 2016. Even the two Opens in the crazy 2019 and 2020. Despite being inactive my whole life, I can honestly say that I'm in the best shape of my life at 57, thanks to CrossFit. Now, this young man's name is it Jerry or Gary? Jerry Paulson. It's Tim Paulson's dad.
That's cool. Dude, when I saw that email come through, that was the first thing I thought. I'm like, I know that name. How do I know that name? I'm like, oh shit, I think is that Tim's dad? And I got to the bottom, like, aha! That's cool. That's super
Tim
cool.
Paulson, Jerry is Jerry's son.
Dude, Tim is a beast.
Tim is a beast.
Beast.
Jerry, you're a badass too. Jerry, thanks for being a Patreon of the show.
That's super cool.
Oh, he's got a cool side story. 1 or 2 years of CrossFit, Tim said, if you work on some weaknesses, you could get to the age group online qualifier by the time you're 55. Naturally, I wasn't convinced, but we made a plan to, and behold, I got into my first age group online qualifier last year when I turned 55. Look at that. Good for you, Jerry. Awesome. Thanks for being a support of the show. Oh, I love it.
That's super
This is
cool,
really
man.
cool.
Yeah.
All right. So congratulations to Jerry. He talked about our programming for the Masters competition. So we said before, I'm hosting a Masters competition at the end of June here in Dallas, Texas. I sent the events over to Bill. Bill approved. He thought I was being a little too nice for the
I think you were. But that's
the 50 plus crowd. I was like, that means they're perfect. So it's we made them up. Bill approved, and that's going down. So we actually released those events
I saw that. Yeah,
on Monday. So get with the programming yet again. Programs for another competition.
Boom.
It's almost like that's part of what we do and offer. Jerry, congrats. Congrats to is like you sir got a great kid.
Yeah.
Aside from accolades that he's had successful in the game season, Tim's a great dude.
Dude, nice. I love when you get these big beastie dudes that are just like super nice. You know, he comes in, he's got his, you know, his man bun, is all, and you go to talk to him, he's like, hey, how are you doing today? Nice
like,
to see you.
who's this wildling from
Great.
beyond the wall? And then he's like, guys, like, oh, you're
You're a
really
nice guy.
guy.
That's
And new
awesome.
dad, Tim's a
Yeah.
new. So congratulations.
Go Paulson
Great,
family.
thanks for supporting the show, Paulson family. And I want to thank Bubs Natural for supporting the show. Bill, I'm going to admit I have a problem. I was making my coffee this morning, and you know, sometimes when I scoop I do not quite a level scoop. I do a heaping scoop of the MCT oil powder. And every once in a while, when I transfer from bag to coffee mug, something will land on the countertop. So I put it in my cup, and then I put the collagen protein in, mix it up, and then I see this little dusting on the coffee on the countertop. And I just put my cup down, and I just slid it into my cup. I felt like some just strung out crackhead at a party.
Oh, hey, where's my credit card?
Yeah,
I need to cut this up real fast.
wringing my fingers around like pink drain just to get that last little powder into my cup. But,
I
was doing that this morning. I was like, what is wrong with me?
Hey,
nothing wrong with me because
let me give you this is a bub hack.
Oh,
okay, a bub hack. So obviously we've been on the bub train a while now. So we get our containers of the collagen.
Yes.
We get the bags of the MCT oil.
Wait a second. Are you going where I think you're going?
I'm going there because I went there, and let me tell you this: I don't do what you did by missing the scoop and trying to get out of the bag, and your hand gets all cut, you know, all powdered up and everything. You take the bag in an old collagen protein container and you dump it in there. So you have two solid containers. Nice scoop, no problem. You can take your scoop and check this out. You take your scoop because it's not a level scoop either because the MCT oil sits a little different. Yeah. So you get your scoop and you kind of tap it on the inside of the container. It knocks it off just nice into the cup.
Yeah, I like that.
Boom.
Bub hack. Hashtag Bub hack.
Bub hack.
Well, if you guys want to get into the double bub club like we are, go to bubsnaturals.com. Use the code GETWITH20 for 20% off every order, every single time. In fact, right now we have a little giveaway going on our Instas.
Yep.
Go to Bill's Instagram. I'm going to post mine today.
Okay.
But if you follow Bill, you follow Bubs, and you tag a friend, you could get in the running for a free tub of collagen protein to help those achy joints and not so loose ligaments get all that usefulness back into them.
You got to use it. Then you use the container afterwards, just like I said, for your bub hack.
Then you're going to be like me on the kitchen floor when you spill some protein powder, just scooping it up into your cup because you don't want to waste one.
You're like licking your fingers, scooping it up and sliding it all over your teeth, just trying to get it in there.
It's a problem I am not afraid to admit, and it's a good problem to have. So if you guys want to get strung out like me, go to bubsnaturals.com. Bubsnaturals.com. Use the code GETWITH20 for 20% off. And as we move into the rest of this week, our Monday's workout crushed me.
Really?
Yes. Okay, I'll give you that. It was 5 front squats at 225, into 25 wall ball shots, into 75 double unders for 5 rounds. Yeah. So
what was the front squat?
225.
Oh man, yeah,
that
jump going from there to the
never have I wanted to quit a workout faster than when I did my first clean of the workout to get into my front squats. Because I got a little toesy, caught my elbows low, folded in half, and I stood up. I was like, oh no, I have to do 4 more of these. Oh wait, no, I have to do 24 more of these.
Yeah.
And I freaked out because I was accessory naked. I was in a hurry. I was like, all right, shoes, shorts, F this shirt. I'm doing CrossFit and I live in Texas.
Right.
And about halfway through the first 3 reps, I was like, I really could use my Element 26 belt right about now.
Oh, dang.
And I was in the middle of the workout. There was so many times where I was like looking at my office. And I was like, maybe if I just run in there really quick.
Yeah.
Because the belt's awesome and it would have helped. I just didn't have enough time. But if you guys don't have it, go to element26.co. They've got belts. They've got knee sleeves. They got those hand grips. They don't have any of the thumb tape because they're out of stock because,
dude, because we
hey,
blew them up.
yeah, you guys have been crushing the thumb tape. I tell you what, if you love the tape, the grips, the sleeves, and the belt are just as quality and just as effective. So use the code GETWITH15. Go to element26.co for 15% off your next PR.
Gotta get it.
Element 26.
You gotta
And then
get it.
thumb tape back in, we'll let you know. If you want to hit us up on the black market, we're selling thumb tape rolls for $10 a piece. If you're,
Yeah, totally. Well, I think I will say, we were lucky enough to get some of that thumb tape, and
how do you
if
like
you,
it?
oh, I do, you know what, I do dig it. I was really interested how it was going to work because I've used all kinds of different tape,
Right, we've been
and
using thumb tape for 12 to 15 years.
yeah, yeah, and you're right.
How
It
different can it
sticks.
be?
It sticks. In fact, so the other partner we have with the show is the Wadproof app. And if you see some of the videos that I'm starting to put together, like on my Instagram or whatever, you'll see the black tape that I'm using on those videos. And it's, I mean, dude, I'll do some sweaty workouts. I'll do long EMOMs on that. We did our alphabet workout
Oh yes.
on Sunday. Thumb tape was on that, and I got some of that on my Wadproof app. So I'm like carrying it around with me because we had 26 transitions, so it was a lot of
After
time on that.
hour and
But you got to check out Wadproof if you don't have a video platform to record what you're doing. You got to get that one. This isn't just like your normal everyday video platform. You can hook your Concept 2 rower up to it. It can check all of your strokes, all of your calories, all of your meters on the screen itself. So you have the ability to link that up. You can follow along with a lot of other athletes. I see that Noah Olson is on there programming a bunch of stuff. Marcus Philly, which I'll tell you what, Marcus Philly, do you remember him? Marcus Philly, like back in the day. So badass athlete, like,
that dude is shredded.
that dude I mean, if you want to have a particular look, damn, right? Dude, that guy. Right? And so he's on there with programs and workouts that he programs for people to do. So you can follow along with all of these different things on the Wadproof Go app. It is amazing. You have to check it out. If you want to up your game on whatever setup that we're talking about with CrossFit, nutrition, gymnastics, weightlifting, rowing, or just general overall masters. I got my programs in there as well. If you want to up the game in whatever, check it out. If you are a programmer or a coach in your gym and you want to have access to different programs to up your game as a programmer, it's $9.99 a month. $9.99 a month to get all that. So you get that Wadproof Pro Pack. And if you use our code GETWITH, then you can get 20% off a 3-month subscription for that. I mean, you're going to use it anyway. So whether you want to just record yourself, you need to put it on for an online program or an online competition, or you need some ideas for some other programs for yourself, your clients, or your gym, you got to check it out. It is a massive resource and one of the best deals out there that I've seen when it comes to upping your game overall. So
plus the
Wadproof app.
Sure.
Yeah.
You get a whole just to try it
out. It's the deal. Got to check it out. Got to check it out.
We say a lot about the athletes, but if you, and we get this question a lot is from, people will message us a lot. It's like, how do you get better as a programmer? And we just say it's practice, immersion, education, and failure.
Dude, immersion was the best thing I think I've heard you say with that. That's exactly it. How do you learn how to speak Spanish? Go down to Mexico and live there for a month.
Exactly.
Like, you'll learn it.
For this Wadproof Pro Pack, when you have access to all this, is like, yes, it's great for teaching an athlete, learning, but as a programmer, it's invaluable to get specific programs dedicated in things like weightlifting, conditioning, gymnastics, masters, in which you put together.
Yeah.
You want to learn how to program, why don't you just go look at programs from the elite programmers in those dedicated arenas?
Yeah.
So it's not just for athletes, it's for coaches and it's for programmers. And like you said, it's $9 a month, user code GETWITH. It's $7 a month after that. And you get a free week trial. So increase your knowledge as an athlete and increase your education as a programmer.
Do it.
And maybe I'll do a team one for WADproof app coming up, and hopefully the programmers of the team quarterfinals will read it the next time they decide to program this competition. As we go to now, we're going to analyze the programming of the team quarterfinals, and what we'll do is we'll go event by event what it was. We try to guess what it was. Some of them were actually pretty close.
Yeah.
Although it's not like that was that hard to do.
They didn't give a whole lot. They didn't give a whole lot of wiggle room in there. Yeah.
The floor plans, the equipment, and we assumed the worst, and we were pretty close. But
before we go, I have to make a comment. We talked about this off air a little bit. Before we get into each individual one specifically, I wish this program was the individuals quarterfinals. The numbers that they had, the weights that they had, the setup that they had, I think was a better 10%, top 10% competition and programmed event than getting the top. I mean, if you look at the teams that were in there, the athletes that had to make it, you're looking at your top 2%.
Yeah.
Why do they have less volume, less weight, less height? That I think if they were to flip-flop that, I think that would have been better, because we put large volume, heavier weights, higher boxes on the better athletes, not lower the standard for guys like Rich Froning. And, come on. They don't need to be snatching 175 pounds.
Right. That's a good point.
Anyway, I just had to say that before we got into it.
Yeah, and we'll touch on that too. It's like, so here's the baseline. This is the first time we'll analyze the teams. We are going to look at the programming. Now, fortunately for us, and for time's sake, we're not going to have to overanalyze the workouts themselves with the movements, because of the same workouts on the individual. So if you guys want to hear how we broke down the individual quarterfinals relative to what these movements are, go listen to that episode we had 2 ago where we analyzed the individual. So we're going to look at the team perspective. And like I said, what we look at is we do look at the movements, the modalities, the time frames, the balance between gymnastics, weightlifting, monostructural, the balance between push, pull, squat, all of those things. And now when you add the team element, there's should be variance in how teams are structured. And there's a lot of things that can be there. You can do synchro stuff. You can do holds while someone works. You can do, here's a block amount of work. The team just needs to finish that together as fast as they can. You can do relays. You can do, well, let me say, you should do relays.
Totally.
You should do waterfalls. You should test athletes individually, because that's a unique test for one test, right? It's okay to do that.
If you see each individual, totally. Yeah. I mean, if you look at the team as a whole, it would be like if we were programming, if there was an element that had handstand push-ups in it, and you as an individual, we wanted to personally test that, you should be able to have, there's one way of saying like, okay, do all the players on the team have the handstand push-up? That's one we're testing. Or it's like, look, you use your strategy, because you would do the same thing as an individual, try to break up your strategy, whatever, and put your handstand push-up master to do the bulk of the work, or break it up however they can do it, as long as everyone can do it. So, I mean, that's what you should be as a programmer, be standing back and looking at, what is my intent on this?
Right.
The intent should not be, let's make it look as similar to this other competition as we possibly can. You can have the same movements, but there's got to be a different intent. It's got to be a different way to mix it up.
And that's supposed to be the most fun part about team competition, because it isn't just do this as fast as you can by yourself.
Right.
It should be how it's a team competition.
Team event, yeah.
Use the team to accomplish these. And I think that's where some of the issues are starting to rise up from recently, is that it's lacking that. And it shouldn't, right? And it's like, and also the preface this too is like we said at the beginning, is like, Bill and I have been broadcasting the team competition for a decade. I've really dived into that, but like, I have personally assembled, programmed for, and coached 4 different teams to the CrossFit Games. I've been broadcasting the team competition for 10 years. right? I've put 6 different teams into this is an area that's really personal to me because I really do enjoy the team competition and I want it to be great. And I also have a pretty solid background into that. Like, as much as Bill is just a master of the master's programming, which is your legacy program as well. It's like,
yeah,
I consider myself the same in the team arena. And I've always felt like the teams have taken a back seat on the programming side to the individuals. The teams really should take a back seat to the individual competition because the individual competition is the point of CrossFit to begin with, right? The team competition is the fun side because that should be the affiliate side. How great is your gym? My gym versus your gym. My team versus your team. That shit is fun. That is cool, right? That's the fun test. And I felt like the teams over the years always deserved a bit more.
You mean
And
you shouldn't just have 7 events of like everyone doing the worm? How many different variations of the worm
right.
should we be doing?
Oh gosh,
Worm thrusters, worm clean and jerks, worm shoulder to overhead, worm lunges. I mean, I just gave that right there. I just did 4 team regional and games events right there. Or years, not events, years of events.
Right. And and before we get into the workouts themselves, some of the either non-criticism I heard or criticism is centered around the same thing that some people said is like, the team events have always been versions of the individual ones, specifically at regionals, not so much at the games, a little bit, but not much. And I'm like, yes. And that's okay because it's cool to see, hey, what's the team version of the individual ones and how can they accomplish this event as a team? I have no problem with that. I think that's perfectly fine in a regional setting. The problem that I had here was, and someone in Brent's like, well, why does anybody care? It's always been like that. It's like, it's always been like that at regionals, and there's no problem with that because there is a different group being tested on the individual side, and there's a different group being tested on the regional side, and they're not the same people.
Right.
And that's fine. Right. And that's just getting outside of the programming. If they look the same, it's like, who cares? I don't care about that.
Well, and then also like in a regional level, you have to remember you're dealing with logistics as well. You can't have 2 completely different events happening at the same day and different equipment. I mean, so there are going to be similarities, and that's okay. Similar movement, just like what we said earlier, similar movements, similar, they can look similar in the pieces, but how you put them together can be and should be different. Yeah.
Yes. And the other point here is that, as we about to move on, is like, here's the biggest problem that I have, and here's the problem that CrossFit may have put themselves into, what they just did here in the quarterfinals, right? CrossFit wants to make this full, accessible, massive participation in the open, individual quarterfinals, team quarterfinals, and age group online qualifiers. But what did you do? You went out, found the top 10% individually and tested them. And then 2 weeks later, and this is where I'm paralleling a regional thing,
right?
You did the same damn workouts in nearly the same exact format where there was little to no team orientation. And so what's going to happen next year? Every single person that is planning to do team will no longer sign up for your individual competition. You've completely alienated an entire group that wanted to do both. And if you're telling me you want to make this the most open test in the world, then you better make the events different, or else you're going to lose that. Because here's what you could have gotten out of me. I would have done the individual quarterfinals. Let's say I signed up for the open. You have $20. I signed up for the individual. You have $50. I signed up for the team. There's another $25. And I'm going to sign up for the age group online qualifier if your workouts are different, right? So next year, if this is the same thing and I want to go team, I'm not going to sign up for your individual competition.
Yep.
And you just totally lost an entire group of people that want to do both. And they should be allowed to do both. They only should have to choose when they go to semifinals. Why are you making these the same, as if you're going to punish me for wanting to pay you to compete more?
I know. If they would have had if they would have made them look different, it would have been way more enticing.
And you didn't even have to change the movements.
No.
And so that's the problem. And when someone says like, well, regionals, they're always versions of each other and nobody cares. Like, yes, because it's the same time happening at the same thing, but you just made us do the same thing twice.
Yeah.
That's what pisses me off, because of the way you program the workouts, not that they were similar. They were the same.
Well, and that's like, there's no portion in any seminar or any of the CrossFit online programming class or anything like that where it says, make sure you repeat your workouts that you do one week the very next week. You know what I mean? It's like constantly varied, right? Where's our planned variance? Like that, it's not there. And here, and on a competitive standpoint, when you are pushing at max intensity, or you are pushing some elements that are, aggressive, why would you have them do that again?
Right.
It's just, you're not going to do Fran every day for a week. Like, what's the point? No, it's just there was a lot of mistakes on that. And that's really, and it's unfortunate, because I think that, like, I was really happy with the resurge of how stoked everybody was on the Open. Like, it went from, the 2019, 2020 weird years, and the 2-1 and all the stuff that was happening, and the big dip in participation. There was a nice upswing.
Mm-hmm.
And then they just got bitch slapped when they went for the team thing. It was like, or the quarterfinal part. I was like, come on.
About the individuals.
Yeah.
But it was still, like, we still said, is like, as a athlete, this will be, and this was really fun. Aside from maybe one event that we took issue with.
Totally,
right?
Totally.
We felt we were warranted, but we're like, this could be so fun for the gym. How fun will it be next year, where we have 500,000 people and now 15,000 men and women in North America qualify, and that means 10 more people in your gym, and we can do 12 people trying to do the individuals. Like, that's going to be awesome. And the point was, and then in 2 weeks we can do the team events, and it'll be even more fun, because now we get to play as a team.
Yeah.
And then this comes out, and like, oh no, you don't get to. You just have to do the individual workouts over again. All right, so let's go into them. All right. Team event number 1, 2 rounds of each. The men will go first. So the athlete 1 will do 15 strict handstand push-ups, 15 dumbbell hang power cleans, followed by 100 double unders. And then male 2 will go right after he's done. And they'll run through that twice. Then they'll move down to 15 kipping, 15 dumbbell push press, 100 double unders, and they'll follow each other twice. And then the women will do the same thing. And here's the problem with that. It's still a relay individually as a team. Now, if this was the only relay event, I don't really have a problem with it.
Right.
I'm like, okay, this is a likeness of the individual competition. It is not the same thing, because like a bigger set, rest, then your partner goes.
Right.
And then
so work
again, that's teamwork.
Yeah. You go, I
work
go.
to rest. This is teamwork. Really, when I look at event number 1 by itself, I don't have a problem with it.
Right.
But what we'll do is we're going to have to retro look at this once all the events are in. So if I just look at this in a vacuum, it's just a relay. This is a team-like event. Here's a little bit more work in one round. You go as fast as you can. You go, I go. You go, I go. You go, I go. And then the women go.
Yep.
That's a team-style event. Right? We just said relays should be a part of the programming. I have no problem with this.
Totally.
When I look at event 1.
Yep.
And no one should have a problem with this either, if this was the only relay one. Right? So first blush, I'm like, okay. And even this, like if I did individual and this one, I was like, I like this better. I can go even faster, and I get rest, and I'm doing it with my boys and girls, right? My crew.
Yeah.
This is a fun event. It's not even that hard. You just go fast.
And you can really rally around each other on like that. That's one of the pluses on a relay style like that, especially when it's short and sweet. You can really rally around your athlete that's going and pump them up.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's a lot. Like the fun you could have with this event
You get
is,
juiced up for this one.
oh man, it could be awesome. It could be
like
really,
your partner's
really
at 80
awesome.
double unders, creeping to 90 and 100. You're like, okay.
Yeah.
Tag me, go.
Yeah. So I think that like if you look again by itself,
Yeah,
as one, it's
right.
a fun workout. I think it's a fun event.
No problem with this one.
Yeah.
Right. I kind of want to do this. I would rather actually do this than the individual one because then I get more rest and I'm with a team.
Totally. Yeah.
That's what the team stuff is supposed to be fun because you suffer with your buddies.
Yeah.
And even if you did week one and you did this one, whatever.
Yeah.
And then you move to event number 2, and then this is just when the balloon got deflated. Right? The worst. Oh no, sorry, not yet. Kind of. Okay.
See, I'll say this. I wish this was one where I was looking at, and this is the first time I was going, now, why wasn't this the individual?
Right. So you have
this the individual event.
Male, female pairs, 70 synchro GHD sit-ups, 14 rope climbs, 70 synchro pistols, 50, 10, 50. Done. Next pair goes. And when we were predicting the programming, I had said one that was like, it was 60. I said 60, 50, 40, 30.
Yeah.
Alternating the pairs through, but doubling the rope climbs. Like, okay, so I kind of thought this would be it.
Yeah.
You have less GHD sit-ups. It's only 120. Yes, you start with 70. However, now that it's synchronized, the intensity isn't quite as there as if you were an individual.
Right.
Right? But I'm with you. If this was just the individual one, I'm like, fine.
I mean, you could 77 and 70, then 55 and 50. Like that would have been cool.
Yeah.
Or even flip it around, 50, 55 and 10, 55 and 50, and then 77 and 70, flip it around that way. But like that would have been like, okay, that's an awesome individual event.
Yeah. Or 50,
awesome.
40, 30.
Oh yeah, you can break it that way too. But I mean, I was like, like I saw this and I was like, see, why wasn't that the individual one?
Right. And so when I look at event 2 by itself, I was like, okay, now we have synchro work. We have mixed gender pairs, and we have GHD synchro, which we've kind of done in the past, but never pistols.
Yeah.
Something new, something different. This isn't a test. You should test synchro stuff. We're doing it with gymnastics. Usually we do it with a barbell. The volume is less. And then now when you look at, now you start looking back at the individual side, you're like, okay, explain to me why you made an average field of less experienced athletes do more work than a average field of more experienced athletes do less.
Yep.
Because they're on teams and you think the athletes are back in 2010.
I know.
Like in 2010, yes, the team athletes were just people who couldn't cut it to make sectionals. And they were just like the athletes that weren't as good got together and made a team and went to the CrossFit Games. Now, these athletes on teams are deciding not to go individual because they want to do team, not that they don't really have a choice. And there's only, 215 teams out of North America qualified?
Yeah.
Times 2. Let's say it's times 2. That's 430 men and women. 430. You don't think this field is more elite on average than the individuals? And you made the individuals do 60 more GHDs and pistols?
Yeah.
That part, I was like, there is a massive disconnect.
Oh, 100%.
Who they think they're testing right now.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I mean, generally you will see the volume in the teams are going to be a little less because they're trying to run through all those people. Yes, I get it. I get it. But if they thought that this was the setup and it's just such a mistake, man. And again, it's not that this is a bad setup, because I like the fact that you're doing the sync GHD and the pistols, and then you get to either you go, I go, or set up however you want to set it up on the rope climb. So you go from synchro to bulk work to synchro. I like the setup, but I can't understand where it came from. Like the numbers and the setup of how it was supposed to be compared.
Here's what I want to be fair. I have no problem with this team event per se.
No. I mean, neither. That's what I mean.
Question what we've already questioned on the individual side.
Even more. Yes.
Why are you treating these like worse athletes?
Yeah. Right? And this isn't the first time it happens. This is a problem.
And I understand it's like, listen, they can't all do that volume because it would take too long. Yes, that's right. But the volume over there was unnecessary.
Well,
on the individual side. So like, and when I look
at what the time cap is.
Right. 25 minutes. The individual one was what? 20?
20. Why did 21 minutes? Why did we make that? Why did we make the individuals? We made this the long duration event where it's average duration event here.
Yeah.
It doesn't make us. I don't get it.
So if I look at, and part of my problem with this programming is actually the incohesiveness, yet too similar between the individuals.
Yeah.
I think that's where a lot of my questions and irritations stem from. When I look at team individual event number 2, synchro work, gymnastics wise, less volume on GHDs and pistols, and then you work together on the rope climbs. After what happened in event 1, I actually have no problem with this team event.
Yeah.
The problem I have is the relationship you are trying to connect between the individuals and the teams is completely ass backwards right now.
Totally. And the only reason we're making that big of a deal is because obviously coming into this, we saw that there is an intent of, okay, we're trying to make the event similar. Mm-hmm. So if that's the case, I mean, it just really throws the light back on. Okay, well, so then here's the question: why again? I'm not even talking why so many GHD, but like why the level? What are you doing with the level of athletes?
Right.
What are you trying to test? Right. Like, where are you going on this? Are the people that did it was like, which came first on this one? Did the individuals come first, or did this come from what the individuals were? And you kind of it's really confusing.
And I hope
this event itself is awesome.
I hope it wasn't this one first, and then you're like, let's make it
just up it up, give them another 60.
And we keep trying to tell you, like, I don't care that they're the same movements and the same style and same events. I don't, because right now they're still too different. The problem is the disconnect. It's like you made it similar, yet they're not even in the same universe of balance between teams and individuals, or it's okay. So in a vacuum, event 1, relay. Awesome. Here, mixed gender pairs, synchro.
Awesome.
No problem.
On its own, they're doing well so far.
Yep. So far, so good. And this is when the air got let out. I was jumping the gun. Right? The nastiest event in individual number 1 was event number 3, the 120 wall ball shots, 120 cal row. And, we talked, it's like, listen, it's not a bad test. It just sucked.
Which is a great test to have.
Yeah, I had no problem with that.
Yeah.
Like physically, my body had a problem with it, but it was just a nasty test. And I don't mean sucked as it was a bad program. It was the classic CrossFit suck. It was terrible. It was wonderfully awful is the best way to describe it. And then here's the big problem that a lot of people had is that if you did individual and you came team, you just made me do the same workout. The same damn workout. Oh, yes, I could offset either 20 on the wall ball shots or 20 on the row. But here's how it goes. You have your men are paired, technically. It's a you go, then I go, and your women are paired. So you either the first 2 go and they do 100 wall ball shots and then 120 cal row. And then when they finish their respective ones, they tag their partner in and they do 120 wall ball shots and 100 cal row. and that's it. And it's the same workout that the individuals did. And if you did the individuals, then you had to do this event again 2 weeks later. And there's no strategy whatsoever.
Mm-mm.
Hey, who sucks at rowing? I do. Then you do the 100 cal row. And your team strategy talk is over. Like that. Right? That's it. Yeah. Okay, you do less cals on the rower. They still have the 14-pound ball to a 9-foot target for the women. Whatever. I'll die on that hill.
Totally.
I'm going to. But there is no teamwork involved whatsoever other than what I just said. One question. Who sucks at rowing? Me. You go last. Moving on. And it's the same exact workout as the individuals. This just looked lazy.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel, especially we're at event 3 now, that when they were programming it, they just were looking at the individuals and they go, well, all right, let's just have all of them do it. Let's just do it that way. And you're right. There's zero creativity. The intent doesn't appear to be let's test the team. The intent is let's just hurry up and get through this.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just hurry up and get to the next one so we can hurry up and program these and get on with it. And that's really too bad.
And
I mean, dude,
everyone got upset.
I would have loved my event to be on this one.
Your event,
the 10-minute, the back and forth, odds and even one.
Right.
Awesome.
Or this is the perfect opportunity to do, even if you didn't want to get as like clever and intricate as yours, which was fantastic, this is a couple episodes ago when we predicted the programming.
Yeah.
Go back and listen to our events. You might like these. Actually, I guarantee you will.
You will like ours.
Or, okay, so we did a relay race in event 1.
Yep.
The team strategy there is where you put your people, right? You should put your worst handstand push-upper last.
Yep.
And it really only matters on the girls' side. Because
Yep.
the guys, he could go first or second, and it doesn't matter because you're just going to wait no matter what, right? Because the guys went all through, and then the girls did, right? On the GHD one, you need to pair up your best pistolers. Because that's where all the time is. All the time is. And you don't want your worst and best one together so you're both bad. But that's the only strategy. You put your fastest people first because you don't know if the other people will finish. Not that much strategy, but there's some. Here, like I said, raise your hand if you're bad at rowing. Okay, you're athlete number 2. And they could have either done yours, which was one person's on the rower, one person's on the med ball. Both men and women going at the same time.
Yep.
Minute, max reps, switch, max reps, switch, max reps for 10 minutes. Total reps combined. Beautifully done, by the way.
I mean, you could have done it 12 and had the first 6 minutes, the first team goes, and the second 6 minutes, the second team goes. I mean, you could have done so many ways to do it, you know?
Yeah. Other than this, or I think one was as a team, 400 collective.
Oh, yeah. A bulk one. Yeah.
400. And then that is some of the most strategically planned events you could do as a team, yet they look boring on paper. Not as boring as this, but still. Right?
Yeah. The communication on that, the bulk one would be super fun.
If I could give one, so say they handed me this and they're like, make this better without changing much. You could have done a waterfall style where it was 120 wall ball shots and 100 cal row, because the 120 wall ball shots and 100 cal row take about the same amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
So you could have at least done, okay, everyone's doing 120 and 100. The men can follow the men and the women can follow the women, but it's a waterfall. So as soon as I'm done with wall ball shots, you go to wall balls and I go to the rower.
Yeah.
So without changing much, this is now a new wrinkle and a new team format, even though we're doing the same thing. Because it's like, okay, who do I put where? Who should go first? It's like, okay, well, I can do wall ball shots. And he's like, listen, this row is going to take me 5 minutes. It's like, okay, well, if you're a bad rower, you should probably, and then he's like, okay, should you go first or second?
Right.
I don't know. Honestly, I think you should go first, because if I'm the good rower, I can take my time on wall ball shots and chill. And then when it's time for me to row, it's time for me to row.
Yeah.
And I can do that fresh, whereas you fatigued would take twice as long as you would already.
Right.
Or something like that, right? I've already spent more time trying to game plan for this than I did when this event just came up. Raise your hand if you suck at rowing. Going second. All right, moving on. Anybody else? And all you had to do is 120 and 100. If you said this is what it's going to be, we're not going to change it at all for individually, you could have just made it a waterfall. And it would have completely changed at least how you approached it.
Yeah.
I don't like that, but it is still different than something we've already done. We've already done a relay. We just did it in event 1.
Yeah.
Are you making us do it again with the same exact program you did for the individuals? Yeah, I'd be pissed off too.
Yeah.
I want to do that event again.
Yeah. Who wants to do the absolute worst one again? Nobody wants to do that.
No.
It's just lazy.
So there, event 3. Event 4, whatever. That's normal. It's
Whatever.
a normal test. It's
Fine.
the collective strength of your team. I don't have a problem with that. It's the same exact test as individuals, because you just said, is like, look, how strong are you? That should be a part of it.
Yeah.
Right? That should be a part of the test. Okay. Who is the strongest team with 4 reps? Good. Done. Whatever. No problem. Moving on. The problem is, if I already did that as an individual, I got to do it again. But still, 4 rep front squat. It's not like it's going to break you off like the previous event.
Right. Right.
The only thing people see is the same thing. I get it. But
whatever.
I don't really have a problem with it. Event 5. And a lot to unpack here. 963 snatches and burpee box jump overs. The order that they force you to do is female, female, male, 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 male. The weight for the men is 175 and 30 inches on the box. So that's less weight for the men.
Yep.
With a better field of men taking the test. And the women do 125, which is less weight than the women did, and a 24-inch box, which they should have done on the individual side to begin with, instead of make the women do a 30-inch box. And so here's the rub. 1, you have another relay, which all that is this is an individual event again.
Yep.
You have 3 technically. You have 3 individually programmed events. You have event 3, which you do for time by yourself. You have this front squat, which you just collect your weight. And then you have this one.
Yeah.
And now, on top of that, you've constrained my program or my strategy by dictating what order I go in again. Now, I will give them this. I'm not really that annoyed with that, because you did the same thing in event 1, where the men had to go first and then the women second. And now this time the women go first and the men second. So you have some offsetting there on the bookend. Whatever. That's neither here nor there. But you have less weight for the athletes to snatch, and finally a difference of the box heights for the team side. But you didn't do that for the individual side. Why?
Yeah. And again, sticking to this, when I look at just this, okay, yes, it is another relay, true. But I like the fact that this is designed to be a fast burner. We're going to have people that are moving on this. That's cool. Like, all right. If you want to make it female, female, male, male, fine. But and it's the hard part about the programming on this one is I look at this and I'm thinking like, okay, like this is cool. I'm fine with the event. I'm fine with this event on the
Okay,
team,
so I'll
but
say
it doesn't make it
in a bubble. In a bubble.
in a bubble, totally. But I look at this, and all I do is I look back again at the
Yes, I
individual,
don't
and
look
it's
at
like,
this
what
and say why. I
is
look at the
happening
individuals
here?
and say why. Exactly.
I don't get it, because we have better athletes in this competition, in this quarterfinal event, than we did in the individuals quarterfinals. We have more high caliber athletes than we did in the individuals quarterfinals. So why is the weight down? Why
Right.
is the weight down? You didn't change the
And the
weight on
box.
anything else. Why is the weight down, the box height different? Now all of a sudden now it needs to be different.
Mhm.
No, man, no. If you would have made it where, if this would have been the individual event, I would have been fine with that. But ideally, why don't you make it 185 and 135 and 30 inches across the box on this one
Mhm.
for these guys? I mean, if you would have kept them the same, I would have been cool with that. But not the 185. I don't understand, man. It just confuses me. Again, this event for the teams is not a bad event. I think it's a little redundant on 3 relays.
Mhm.
Like that. I think that's a laziness issue. But when I look at this event as itself in a bubble, I like the event. It just makes me look backwards and question what
Yes.
the hell just happened in the individuals again.
Right. And so for the group that says they should be similar, they've always been similar, like, yes, they should. But why is this so much different with a worse average field of athletes than this one?
I mean, we just had Brian Friend on the show who's like, I just snatched 175.
Right.
So I there's my PR. I'm in the top
And if
10. I
you do
made it to the quarterfinals,
it, mhm,
but I could not hit 185. But
right.
if he was on this one, he could hit it.
Yeah.
So what the heck are we doing?
I don't know.
I don't get it.
Yeah. And all right. So when I look at this one along with all the other ones, if I just looked at this event, you're like, hey, here's a cool team event. I'm like, that is a cool team event. I
Yeah,
like the relay style, the order that you force them into, whatever. I
whatever.
like to give teams more freedom there. I think every once in a while you should force it. Be like, stop trying to hide your
Yeah,
stop trying to hide your dude, or hide your
yeah,
girl. Like, okay, yes, you expose that by forcing some direction, but not every time. You shouldn't do that every time.
right.
But and that's in 5 events. It's kind of hard to do, but in 5 events, like, why can't they all be that much different? Now the difference is the men went first on the relay and it was a flip flopping relay between 2 people,
Right.
and the women second. But as a whole, okay, a you go, I go relay in event 1. That was still a decent team workout or event. And then a you go, I go relay on event 3, and a 100% individual workout
Mm-hmm.
because you just added everyone's time together. There was no teamwork.
Right.
And this one is a relay where there is no teamwork. None.
Yeah, you
There's
didn't
no
test anything on
teamwork
the
in
team.
event 3. There's no teamwork in event 4. And there's no teamwork in event 5. And 3 of the 5 tests you just made the teams do are individual events.
Yeah.
That's your team programming right there.
Yeah.
And let's not mention is like, okay, well, the weight's lighter and the boxes are finally different between men and women. But, that's. And then you look at event 2, it's like, okay, mixed gender pairs should be tested. Synchro should be tested. In the middle portion of the rope climbs, you can strategize based off, and it's like, hey, listen, if I'm a tiny girl and my partner is a foot taller than me, which you shouldn't be because you have pistols, unless both of you guys were that and you had no choice. It's like, yeah, you do more rope climbs.
Yeah.
That's it. Right. And we'll push the GHDs because we're going to be so off on the pistols. There's still strategy to that.
Dude, it's so bad the event that we hated the most in the individuals was the GHD one. And when I look at this, the one that is the best team event that's programmed is the GHD one.
Yeah.
The worst is the individuals one. The best is the team one, and it's the same event.
Right.
That is
with a fair, appropriate volume of GHDs, it's 120.
yeah, that's fine.
That's fine. These are team athletes. They've been training to do this. But, and then on the first one, again, I like the first one. I want to do this one. This looks like fun.
Yeah,
hey,
yeah.
Just send 15, 15, 100. Tag me, and it's my turn. And then we go again, and then we advance down the line while the girls wait. What I think would have been cool is again, kind of a waterfall. So it's like the men do their 2 rounds and then drop down to the next group, and then the women come in.
Yeah.
They're just running your ass down. Because you really should be faster. Well, it depends. They should be pretty equal.
Well, I mean, that's going to be solely team. The event is great. I still think that
no problem with event 1. I don't have any problems with event 2. Only issues I have is the disconnect between the top 10% individuals and then the top 1%.
The first one is fun. I think that's a fun team event because you are kind of the you go I go thing is, and it's not enough. It isn't like you are hanging out for a long time and someone is doing. That's not like event 5 where you have to wait for them to get in through the entire event. Then you can tag your hand and go. It's still fast enough that it's a you go I go. Yeah. So it's fun. But the best programmed event in this entire competition is event 2 with the GHCs, because now you are actually seeing the team. You're putting them synchro. You're putting them together. It's still going to call out your weak person because you can only go as fast as your slowest person. Exactly. So that's great if you're great at GHCs, but if this other person isn't very good or at pistols or whatever, that's the team working as a unit. You get to break down your bulk with the rope climbs. Again, team work, team communication, team strategy, team event. That is what this should be. And you can have, just like you said earlier in the very beginning, you can have your relays, you could have your waterfalls, you could have all that set up. But when I look across this, and I generally I'll say that I like the events. I think that they're fine. When I look at the overall look, I mean, again, I don't like the one where you're just doing it all by yourself. I think that's weak. But the events themselves, I don't think are bad. But how can you you make event 2 so good, which we thought it was so bad in the individuals, and then all the other ones are just crap. Like they're just boring. They're just lazy. They're just, it's weak sauce programming, which is really too bad.
It is too bad because, like I said, the best part about team programming is that you can have so much more fun with it.
Oh, you can get so creative.
So creative because it's like, look, take all of these events they programmed and change the way you do them. Relay style, waterfall style, synchro, holds while someone works, bulk team, mixed gender pairs. You have all of these options and you used one of them.
Yeah.
Or 2 of them. Yeah. You used one of them 3 times.
Yeah. It's too bad.
And the biggest problem I have is not actually with the team programming per se, other than not 3 of them are not team events at all.
Yeah.
Is the connection between the individuals in here.
Well, and then if we look at the quarterfinals, not the quarterfinals are done. When you go and you look at the entire setup of the quarterfinal individuals should not have been for the individuals. This program and volume and weights should have been for the individuals. You should have had the volume and the weights of the individuals put to the team on this element here. So it's like we have these events in the programming for these events, but as a whole, they're in the wrong places. Mm-hmm. The open individual should not have been for the top 10%. No. I don't think that was the, and we said that would have been a great semifinal event or an old school regional, or I mean, like here we are, we're checking to see, and we came up with that would have been a great stage 1 for the CrossFit Games. And so like we're backwards on what we're doing here. And then here's the team, and the team, not team events. They're individual style events. The volume and the weights are appropriate for the 10% individuals, not the top 4 or 3% athletes.
Right.
It's like everything is in the wrong place. It is like it's not bad stuff, but it's all disheveled. It's all incorrectly
And that's
appropriated to the places that they need to be.
A lot of my issues is that it is incoherent.
Yeah, I don't get it.
There's no consistency, and you can't have that.
Yeah.
Right? So our biggest problem in individuals was obviously the volume of work in event 2. Why are the women using a 30-inch box in event 5, but only a 9-foot wall ball target in event 2?
Yeah.
3. And then, so that carries over. So a lot of the things we have issue with programming wise of the nuts and bolts stem from the disconnect to the individual side.
Oh, totally.
That you made way harder for a collective group that is way worse than the individual components that are taking the team test.
Yep.
Not to mention 3 of the 5 events are not team events. They're not. How fast can you do 100 wall ball shots and 120 cows, or vice versa? Okay. And then you're going to take my time, and that's not a team event.
Nope.
We all went separately. The front rep, 4 rep max front squats. Now, it's unfair saying that's not a team event, because what are you really going to do in that format? Right. But still, like, and then event 5 is not a team event. You do it as fast as you can, and then you tag me, and then I do it as fast as I can. And it's like, no, that's an individual event. How fast are all of us together by ourselves?
Yeah.
Event 1 is a team workout. It's a partner workout with intervals. I really like event 1. And event 2, that is the best team one you have.
Best one.
There's so many things you got to play with. Are we going to focus on height being our decider of who pairs up with who? Is it going to be GHD ability? Is it going to be pistol speed? Are you going to do more rope climbs than me because you're better at them, or you're taller, or you're stronger? Are we going to push the GHDs because both of us suck at pistols?
Right.
Should we go first, or should we go second? Are we the faster pair? And you didn't have a lot of time to do that too. So there was a big time constraint on that. And so why is event 2 for the teams the best programmed event when on the individuals it was the worst?
I know. That's what it's that like, that to me is hysterical, man. Like that. How is that even possible? That's just weird. It's so weird. It's so weird.
It is weird. And it's really hard to explain what our problem is. Other than the simple one is like, those aren't team events. Those 3, they're not. That's a problem. That should not be a thing. But it's the inconsistency from one to one. You're like, and so that goes to the person who's like, they've always been the same or similar or versions of the other, where it's a version of the individual or the individual is a version of the team. Let me tell you right now, the individual ones are programmed first. So don't tell me you think you know about the teams being done first. It's bullshit. Dave wrote a fucking book about it. He wrote a whole book that he spent months doing the individual competition, and the one thing weighing over his head is that he hasn't even thought about the teams yet. And then he goes to the game, it's like, yep, looks like that's exactly what happened.
Oh my gosh.
Like, okay, so maybe it's like, hey, I have a cool team idea. How do we make this individual? I'm sure that has happened. And maybe it did happen for this one. But if that was the direction it went, what were you thinking? Like event 1 for the individuals and the teams, I that transfers. I'm like, totally get it. I liked event 1 for the individuals. I loved event 1 for the teams. Then you look at event 2, and you're like, what happened from individual to team? Or what happened from team to, God help the person who did the team one first and says, you know what the individual should do? You got a collective group of worse athletes. You know, I have a great idea.
Let's bump it up. Let's make that be the slow one.
Okay, so that's a big problem of disconnect. And then you move to event 3, and it's like, hey, what do you want the teams to do? I don't know. Just make them do the same thing as the individuals did.
That one sucked. Everyone said that one was bad. We know that one hurts. Let's just make them all do that.
Yeah, it hurt. It also hurt just like looking at that is like that, like we said earlier, is like that was just lazy.
Yeah.
And a massive missed opportunity for something fun. Something fun that was so basic. Wall balls and rowing. Your event was one. The collective group of imams. My event was another of just like, 300 and 300. Go.
Yeah.
That would be terrible too. Be worse. 300. Oh, so maybe I should row 100 because I can.
Yeah.
Hard for my team. And then everybody else has to do like 40 or 50 or whatever. But no. And then the front squat, like I said, that has to be in there. That's a necessary evil.
You know what? They've done it at regionals before where, and I said it actually in mind, where you can't go down in weight. You can only go up in weight.
Yes,
I mean,
yes.
like put something on there. You can put a caveat, something. Don't just like, again, that to me is lazy. That to me is lazy. The only thing we did is like we had in the individuals, you had 20 minutes as an individual to get your 4 rep max.
Mm-hmm.
On this, you have 20 minutes for 4 people to get that total.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess technically you have, but the way everyone's going to do it is everyone's going to warm up before they start the clock anyway. So it doesn't even matter. So do it like you did in the competition style, whereas you can't go down.
Yep.
And only go up.
One rack, you have a men's bar.
Yeah.
It's a front spot. You don't need
totally.
And you do that. Exactly. I missed my 4 up. It's like, well, you better get it or else we're getting 0 for your score.
Yeah.
That just infuses team strategy in the simplest of ways. You completely change the event to a team event.
Totally.
Can't go down and wait. Boom. And there's an example of not changing the event because we wanted it to be different, but just like tweaking something. Just like my idea
for a team competition.
Yeah, if you just made it 120 wall balls and 100 cal row, but a waterfall, okay, yeah, you're making me do the same thing, but now it's a team style because you still have to strategize who goes where.
Yep.
What's more valuable? Where can I save more time? It's like, actually, if I do 120 wall ball shots unbroken and save myself the 40 to 50 seconds I would have rested if I broke 3 times, well, maybe I don't actually have to make that up on a rower.
Right.
You can row 50 seconds faster in 100 cals. You know how fast you would have to go to do that? Maybe it is worth it. Right? And all you did was just make them go in a waterfall. And you can program the same event.
Yeah.
And then on the last one, I mean, you did synchro. I have no problem with that. So what's the best option to do there? Maybe that's when you should have done your bulk set. 21-15-9. Snatches and burpee box.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Dude, yeah. Why isn't that it?
Done.
Okay.
And then you got a cool rep scheme. Classic 21-15-9 is like, hey, dude, 21 as the team. It's like, hey, I can do 21 touch and go snatches, but I will be done for the rest of the event. Like, fine, fuck it. We don't need you.
Right.
But if you can do that, homegirl over here can do all the burpee box jumpers faster than both of us combined. And then we're going to have our girl do the 15 because she's the strong one. And we rested her on the, like, that's it. Boom. 21.
So many missed opportunities.
And the
so many missed opportunities.
You can go faster. The girls get a lower box so that their speed on the box is the same as mine.
Yeah.
Oh, God, I almost said an F word really loud. You have a mute button. Now I'm pissed. I was already upset. Now I'm actually angry.
I mean, you can armchair quarterback how to make it better, but Bill, what
to make it better? 30 minutes.
No, totally. I mean, what I'm saying is, it just it just seemed like, even more so than normal, it was an afterthought more than a programmed competition.
Yes.
Which is just too bad, because it happens over and I what's crazy is that there's a lot of really good athletes that put a lot of time and energy and effort and training and everything into the team competition.
Mhm.
And
Where was
I
the
mean, I'll be the first to admit, man, like, it just doesn't even seem fun to me,
This is not fun,
you know?
especially if I did the individual quarterfinals.
Yeah.
And here we come first full circle. It's like, if this was at regionals, whatever. They're going at the same time. There's basically the same workouts, but they are doing this test and they're doing this test, and no one should have a problem that they look the same or maybe even are the same. If you want to get into the more team programming that we just talked about, then you can have your issues. But if this was happening at the same time, fine. It's basically what it's always looked like for the last 10 years anyways. These are just the different versions of the individuals, and we just changed some things and we didn't put too much thought into it and go. It's like, okay, whatever. This is our team workout.
Right.
But the problem is that you gave people the option to do both. And people should have this is just the quarterfinals. Who gives a shit if I want to do individual, team, and age group online qualifier? I should have that opportunity. And by the way, you shouldn't want me to take that opportunity because I just mapped out the financial gain for your company by doing so.
Right.
So your individual should be one. Your team should be completely different, so it's fun to do, and more people will want to do it, which means more people will sign up the Open just to make the quarterfinals. And then more people will make the quarterfinals because more people sign up for the Open. What do we not understand here? Would you like me to run the business? No, don't do that. I'm a horrible businessman. It's like, we should make the quarterfinals the most fun part of the Open. The Open sucks because open workouts just suck. They hurt, and there's no other option because they have to be simple, and it means the good people are just going to die. And that means if the quarterfinals are the most fun part because we get to do them in the gym with all of our friends, we get to compete together as an affiliate, and we get to do individuals, and hopefully we get to do team events, which should be more fun than the individual side, and it should be different. More people will sign up for the Open, which means you will get more money for the game season. And then more people will make the quarterfinals, which means you'll also make more money for the game season. And then it'll just compound on itself. But what did you do? You made the individual quarterfinals way too freaking hard, which nobody wants to sign up for next year. And then you made the same individual events as the team one. So now nobody wants to do the individuals one anyway because they know they're going to have to do them again on the teams. Okay. Sorry. There it is. It's been a while. That's my problem. That's my biggest problem is like, of all the shit we've gone through for the last 2 years, this is what you gave us. And I don't want to hear an excuse. It's year one. You've been doing this thing since 2011. And we programmed these things better 2 weeks ago. You can't tell me.
And that was honestly, that was the night before.
Yes, I made that shit up the morning of. I turned on my computer and I was like, I can do this right now because
totally.
I know what the floor is. You gave me the equipment, and I already know you're going to do the same damn thing as the individuals. And here's the workout, and we made better ones.
Yeah. This is
I'm mad because I want this to work.
Right.
That's why I'm mad because I want the community to get back to the way things were more than they've ever been, and this is not it.
And this goes right back, kind of circling way back around to what we came up with about how important the semifinals are going to be in the programming. Yeah. Like this right here is why programming is so important. It's not just about doing some stuff. And I think that a lot of, if we look at what a lot of novice programmers do is they just throw things together thinking that because you're breathing hard, it works. I've had so many people go like, hey, I did this one workout, and I was sweating really good. And I'm like, so like that doesn't mean anything. I used to talk about that all the time at the fire station. But like, look, I could give you a mop and tell you to mop my apparatus bay floor really fast. You're going to be
Yeah.
sweaty and breathing hard.
Yeah.
Would anyone ever say that the mop workout is going to be that's a good workout? No, nobody would.
It hurts
So
so bad. So good. I'm
that
like,
doesn't mean anything.
right.
So here we are again looking at, and I know, this was supposed to be centered on the team quarterfinal programming, but when we look at the quarterfinals as a whole, it was a big miss in programming. Yes, things got done. Yes, there were the hard things. And, even on this one, you had flashes of some fun,
Yeah.
events and some flashes of some good, team style events. Even in the open, or the individual quarterfinals, we said we liked the events. They were just in the wrong place. And there
Right.
were obviously, the GHC thing is whatever it is, what it is. But this right here just goes to show like how important the programming is. You can't
Yes.
just haphazardly throw
Yeah.
shit on the wall and hope it sticks and people to go, that's cool and I want to do that again. Like
Yeah.
this is what is supposed to inspire people and get people fired up to do. And CrossFitters are the only ones that are like, that's so shittily fun, I want to do it.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
this is just shitty period and dumb, I don't want to do it now. Like that doesn't make any sense. So i'm I am obviously bothered at how the programming has been done. I'm trying really hard, and I know you're at the disconnect of how it makes us look back at the individual quarterfinals. I'm trying really hard when we look at this not to do that, but this
Yeah.
was not a team programmed competition. It wasn't.
No.
We already said that there were 3 of the 5 events were individual style events. There was 2 teamed events, one that was really cool, one that would
Yeah.
be fun to do, one that was really cool, but the rest of it to me is a waste of time. And so, I mean, you got 2 out of 5, man. Like that's terrible. That's
Yeah.
terrible for
And
a for a competition that has been around now for a while, that has people that know how to do this stuff.
right.
And this, it just got tripped. They tripped up. This is
Yeah.
just,
And
it's really too bad. It's
you
sad.
nailed it. And that's why the appropriate word, and this is such a dad word, is I'm so disappointed.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be tongue in cheek here, but like there is no better way to explain my frustration.
Yeah.
Is that I'm so disappointed because there are people there that are way better than what they put out. Way better at doing this on the programming side.
Yeah.
Because I do hold the thing we've been fighting for since 2018, since the whole Glassman effect happened, has been to keep the community together, inspired, entertained, safe. And that all comes from programming and coaching and community. And so I get frustrated because you have all this momentum going into the open and you have this amazing new system. Like the quarterfinal system is wonderful for the affiliates.
Totally. It's one of the best things that they put together.
Because so many people can qualify.
Yep.
So there's should be no animosity during the open. Like, oh, I didn't qualify for the 10,000 spot. It's like, okay, those 3 people can get mad at the person who shaved their depth on a thruster, right? That animosity's gone. And then during the quarterfinals, it's such a big pool that it should still be a 2-pronged appropriate test. Because you're going to the semifinals, you're not programming these teams and individuals for the CrossFit Games yet.
Mm-mm.
And that part should still be fun, not frustrating, because then nobody wants to do it. And what we should have is this programming that is like, and then people's like, well, the best still made it. Shouldn't that be the only thing that matters? And the answer is unequivocally no. Because it would be if like people who shouldn't be there made it. But like, just because it's like what we said in our last episode, just because Matt Fraser won the 2019 CrossFit Games does not mean that it was programmed well.
No.
What happened to the fittest group of individuals? They were all over the place. It was a bad test. So you can't judge the test on who wins the competition. That is not a judge of good programming. And you can't judge it solely based on who qualifies. That part matters because then it shows how bad or skewed it was. But the problem still remains the same, is the disconnect between one set and the other set with the two groups that you tested. And then the team side, where 60% of it had nothing to do with team competition.
Yeah.
And I'm just frustrated because it could and should have been so great, and it wasn't. And it looked like no one cared enough to really put the effort in to make sure that that was brought to the fore.
Yeah, a minor tweak in each of those three events would have completely changed completely changed the output and the outlook of this competition.
Yes.
I mean, a minor tweak, just like we said, the event 4, you can't go down and weight. A tweak like that, all it took is that.
That's all it took.
Then all of a sudden we would have 3 team events and 2 non-team events. Mm-hmm. A little tweak in, the 21-15-9 in event 5. Now all of a sudden we have 4 team events, 1 non-team event. And then waterfall. Boom. Now you have 5 team events and no individual events.
0 individual events.
It would have completely changed the entire. How many times have we ranted on? The only
thing we did was
I think we just taking turns getting back up and down off the stupid soapbox. He's tired. My turn to get up there. He's tired. My turn to get up there.
Because we care so much and we are so invested in the success of this freaking sport.
Yeah.
And I don't want to sound negative, and I do because I'm frustrated because
it could have been that easy to fix.
That's how easy it was.
That's how easy.
Something, and I can clearly say no one took the time here to really understand what they're putting out there.
No, that's too
right. And okay, so let's go through the team 1 first. What you just said. Event 1, don't change. Event 2, don't change. Event 3, 120 and 100 waterfall.
Boom.
That's it. Event 4, all 4 work on the same rack, the same bar, and you cannot go down and weight. Event 5, 21-15-9, get the work done as a group.
Done.
Boom. Done. That's it. We changed nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing of the actual programming itself, except the little details that should be big issues. Go to the individual side. Event 1, don't change it. You don't have to. Event 2, too much volume. Too much volume. 40-30-20-10.
Yeah.
Or 50-40-30. There's your 120. 50-40-30, send it. It's 120. GHCs and pistols, whatever.
Yep.
Event 3, don't change it. That was freaking terrible, but it was wonderful. Event 4, don't change it. It's a 4 at max front squat. How strong are you? And event 5, change the damn height for the women and let's go.
Yeah.
On the box. I don't even care about the weights. The weights were fine. Yes, they were hard. They're probably a little too hard for the field. So if
I would have said bring the box, set the boxes right. Use this setup for the weight on the teams and the individuals. 175, 125, 30, and 24.
Fine. Yeah, take that. But again, that's just
minor. It's minor.
It's minor. And I didn't even talk about the wall ball target, but have some consistency there. If you're going to give them 9 feet, why then give them the damn box? Like that, that doesn't make sense. So that's it. That's all you had to do.
Yeah.
In the
cleaned up so much.
Yeah.
It's just that easy.
It is.
If anybody wants help with their programming of their events, we're open anytime. Just hit us up. We would love to be consultants for anyone that doesn't want to have these sort of issues. My goodness. It's that easy, people. It doesn't take a lot.
Yeah. And we don't even have to make it up. It's like, hey, here's what we got. It's like, I've already done this once. I'm not going to do it for free anymore. But
yeah.
It's like, hey, here's this. I'm like a Rubik's Cube. It's like, done.
Yeah.
Boom. That's what we just did. Yeah. We didn't move stickers around. We just turned some cubes. We didn't even make a new one.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's why we're so frustrating, because it could have been so great. And it wasn't.
Yeah, like how could it be that slight of a change? That slight of a change to go from really weak and not fun to hell yeah, let's go.
Let's go. Yeah.
Like that simple.
It's right.
Like what the that's the part that I'm disappointed, but it's more like bewildering that it's that easy to make it that much better. Like that's a massive yield. Like what the heck, man?
You cannot sit back and objectively say those tweaks do not make it infinitely better and more fun.
No, it's massively better. That's what I mean. It's the fact that it's that easy.
And here's the thing. The same people will qualify.
Yes.
The same teams will qualify. We just made them actual team events, and we made them not dangerous on the individual side.
Well, you know, I mean, honestly, in reality, it begs the question: would the teams, the same teams qualify? No, I'm not talking mayhem. I'm not talking mayhem or whatever, because now we're testing teams. We're not testing top individuals.
It would change. I for sure would change.
So, I mean, but that's what you want. You shouldn't. Your best team should not be your best individuals.
Right.
Your best team should be your best team. You're going to have good individuals, of course, obviously, but and really good girls for sure. But you, but your team, you know, it's about the team, and you have to shoot.
Yep. I know.
Okay, can we put a cap on this already? Jeez, oh man.
Oh, well.
Anyway, good times, good talk.
We're not angry. We're just frustrated.
Yeah.
You know, we're just disappointed.
Yeah.
Just disappointed. It could have been, and it can still be good, but like now, you know, as I'm looking towards I got my invitation for the age group online qualifier. I have not accepted.
Oh, you ready to do some GHDs? Some pistols?
No, I haven't accepted it yet. I was like, I will accept it when you release the floor plans. I'm serious. I'm not going to do the individual events again. You're not going to get $50 of my money to do the same thing I did. And it all comes back circles. Like, look, you could have made them so much more fun. So much more people sign up. How many people declined their invitation because of team?
Yeah.
It's like, you guys were the smart ones.
Yeah.
And then what do we always say? What was the biggest disappointment is not getting fresh programming. The thing that we love the most, right? New ideas, new avenues. And I was like, I wonder what the team events are going to be. Nothing new. It's like, damn, that sucks. I was hoping to get some ideas.
Well, so. all it made me do was go, okay, well, just repost those individual floor plans for the age group qualifier. Like, that's what it's going to be. That's what it's going to be. If it's not, I'm saying it very tongue in cheek right now, but get ready, age group people and occupational people, because that's what it's going to be. It's going to be the exact same thing.
No way.
It will be.
No way.
It will be.
I mean, I know I was pretty hot on this show, but I'm going to go back to puppy dog positivity, Chase. It's going to be different, and I can't wait for him to. But I am still going to press pause on my
there you go.
Age group acceptance, because if they are the same, I'm not doing it. There's no point. Why? Yeah. I will not subject myself to that again. That's just not fun.
Why don't you just say, well, here are my open results. It's the exact same thing.
Yeah. Here's
I just forward those
of my front squat.
Right. There you go. I got the video of it. It totally.
Maybe use WOD Proof app, so you have no idea when I did this. I'm just gonna sit back with my Element 26 taped thumbs and a cup of coffee with some Bubs Naturals in it, and that's how I'm gonna close the goddamn show because we've been running in circles for the last 20 minutes.
All right. So, okay. So when you do your thumbs up or thumbs down, you have to do. You can't do it based on. Yeah, totally.
Can it be the Element 26 thumbs up review?
All right. That's what we're gonna call it. We'll call it that.
Element 26 thumb taped review.
You have to do your basis not relatively compared to the individual.
Okay, that's good.
Fair. But as the team competition, programming, events
by itself,
as their own deal.
Individual competition.
The individual did not happen.
A single competition, even though
the individuals did not happen.
Okay, so if I look at the team programming as if this was the only thing I ever saw, I would give it 1 thumb up. First 2, good team test. Second one, you go, I go. That's all I see. Not I see. I've seen this before. 4 reps, fine. Last one, relay. I would have liked to have seen more variance in how the teams were tested. Water files, bulk sets, things like that. But if I just looked at the events, I'd give it 1 thumb up. I'm not in love with the lack of variance of how you test the team. I don't have any problem with the programming itself of the movements, the weights, and the skills they made them do. So I'll give it 1 thumb up. The other thumb, because, again, 3 of the 5 tests were individual tests.
Yeah.
You get 1 for the events, but none for the team aspect of it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
I give it 1 thumb up.
I'll go actually a little more aggressive on that. I'm going to just go a half thumb up.
Ooh.
And the reason I say that is because this wasn't a team program event. Like, the intent of this was team, whether you had 2 of those, like I'll give the half thumb up for the second event.
Okay.
Because I like the second event. I thought it was cool. I mean, I think the first one is good too, but I really liked the way that the second event was programmed. That to me was like, hell yeah, there we go. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Everything else to me was
all right.
It was not. We did not test teams in this competition. We had 1 event that tested the teams in the competition, and that was it.
Yeah.
I don't think anything else got tested.
Team strategy should be a huge part of the team competition.
100%. If we talk about pacing and what makes, Brent Fikowski, and when Rich was doing his thing as an individual, pacing was the key to how those athletes performed. You don't have the same. I mean, pacing is there with team, but the pacing is now the strategy of where you put your pieces, how you put your pieces, and when you put your pieces.
And that's
the pacing. You didn't get any of that here. So, like, we didn't have it. There was not a team competition. There was a team event out of 5 events. So half a thumb up for me. That's all I got.
I think my other half is that I consider the first one team.
I know you do, and I do too, and I like it. I just think it wasn't, for what this whole thing was. When I look at the whole thing as a picture, it wasn't enough to bring me into.
All right, I thought I was being tough with the 1. Oh, all right.
I'm more of the silent killer, so it's all good.
Killer. All right, I got 1 Element 26 thumb tape up. You got a half.
I got a half.
Element 26 thumb tape up.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, well, hey, that was our first Analyze the Program for the teams. And that was something different.
Yeah.
I really like this because it's just almost, when you analyze the program, it's about as fun as doing the team stuff because there is so many things that are layered in there. It's not just the numbers on the paper.
Well, and I will say this. I think the fact that so with our podcast, the programming podcast has brought a lot of things, I think, to light for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be something that also needs to have light that's brought to it for people that are programming events.
Yeah.
People that are in their gyms programming little throwdowns or partner workouts or whatever. It's like now people, I think this will help those people look at how important this stuff is. Like you just like with masters, you don't just make it lighter because they're older. Like that's right. Like that is not the end all be all. You don't just go, okay, it's a relay, so now it's a team event. It's not right. Just that.
All four are going eventually.
Yeah, it's not that. There's more to it than that. And so, as much as I am not, I mean, I wouldn't say that team programming is necessarily my forte, but I can look at programming as a whole, and have a lot to say with that. So I think that we are going to be able to bring a lot to the table for people, insight wise, and I think that this is a really cool avenue for us to get into when we start looking at team events. Mm-hmm. Whether it's the regionals, whether we're looking at team events at different competitions, whatever. So I think seeing how we saw this, it will be fun to really pick a lot of those things apart.
Yeah.
And really analyze all the pieces. It'll be fun.
I'm excited to get into more of these.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Plus, I love team stuff.
Totally. Absolutely.
It's just fun.
Yeah.
Like, yep, it's the test, but it's really the team.
Yeah.
And there's
a lot more to it.
There is that we didn't have the team part really here.
Yeah.
And I think the big hang up for a lot of people is we haven't had the team thing for almost 2 years.
Yeah.
Going on 3 because they got rid of affiliate teams.
That's true.
A lot of angst, clearly, on my part. Right, guys, thanks for listening to the show. Give us your feedback. Hit us up on Instagram, @getwith_the_programming. You got @Bill Grunler. You got @Chase_Ingram. For you Patreons on there, you can message us on there. You can give us feedback. What was it? What's our email address? Official GWTP?
I believe so.
Programming?
Yeah.
@Gmail? Just find us. Bill's phone number is, I'm just kidding. Oh, all right. Well, hey, after all of that, semis are coming up in 4 weeks. So we got some ideas coming up. We said how to revamp the team competition on a few different aspects, programming episode. What the best team affiliate ever assembled was.
Yeah.
That's the episode we have coming. More analyzing the programming. I can't wait to see if they release the outlines, the programming outlines for these semifinals. I don't know if they'll ever release them, but if they do.
Well, it depends. It depends on the direction that they choose to go. Right? Yeah.
The live competition outline and what the online competition outline is going to be. So we are getting close to what is going to be a very intense part of the year, because we're going to have 5 different individual program semifinals, one same programmed virtual, and then the catch-all one after that.
Yeah.
And any news coming up between that, my ear will be to the ground, but my eyes will be on the programming. So I'm excited to see what happens. So thank you guys for listening. Send us your feels in our Instagram post after you listen to this. But Bill, thanks for standing on the soapbox with me.
You got it, man. Anytime.
It's not like the Titanic. There is room for 2. All right, everyone. Have a great weekend. Thanks for listening. Bill, check you later, brother.
See you, man. Have a good weekend, everybody.